Good morning. My name's Claire Hewitt. I'm Director of the Henley Partnership, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you this morning to this information session, where I hope you're going to find out a lot more about the Henley Partnership and what we do in the Henley Partnership. Very conscious of your valuable time, so we've kept this to under an hour from now until around 12:45. So I hope you'll be able to remain with us through that time. Because we've got quite a lot to get through, if you've got a question, could you please pop it into the Q&A and I'll answer them at the end of the session. I'd normally answer as we're going along, but I'd like to keep up the pace this morning if that's all right. The session is being recorded, so that if there's anybody in your team who would like to listen to this afterwards, there is an opportunity to do that. So a very good morning and welcome from me. That was my introduction. So what I'm going to do is walk through what the Henley Partnership is, how it operates, how it works, what you can expect from it. And then I'm delighted to say that one of our member organisations here, I've got Sharon Steed from AWE, the Atomic Weapons Establishment, which is one of our members, who's going to talk about how AWE use the partnership and what value they get from the partnership. I'll then run through the 2024 calendar of sessions and of events, and I'll give you a little bit more detail on a handful of the sessions. It would be impossible to walk through them all in detail, so I've cherry-picked a few to talk you through. We're then going to hear from one of our tutors, Roger Martin Fagg, who's going to deliver a session for us on the 21st of November this year around an economic forecast for 2024. And you will receive an invitation to join that session if you would like to, as a taster of how the partnership works. And then I will answer any questions right at the end. So that's what's going to happen this morning. That's the structure. So I'm going to dive straight into what is the Henley Partnership, so known as THP. It's all about leadership development, and it's targeted, as you might expect for a business school, at senior executives and your hypos. And the people who we have delivering on our sessions are some of Henley's finest, and also a number of associates who are equally well qualified in different areas. Roger, for example, is one of our associates. So we really have a very wide network of experts that we bring in to talk on our sessions. So you get the best of what's available. And what we offer is a series of masterclasses and webinars, 30 of them each year, and I'll come back to numbers in a moment. And the important thing about them is that we actually design them with you, the members. So we have 20 odd members right now, and throughout the course of the year and at specific points during the year, we have conversations about what are the issues you're facing as a business, what are the challenges you're facing, and what are the learning and leadership issues that you have, and what are your needs. And based on those conversations, we then create the calendar of topics for the upcoming year. So it's very current, changes every year, and we make sure that it's dynamic in that regard. In terms of you as HR and L&D professionals, I've come to realise that you are somewhat cobbler's children, in that you offer all of these sorts of sessions to everybody in your organisation and to participants, but actually don't get an awful lot yourselves. And so a real valuable addition to our calendar of events is we have 2 sessions each year just for you, one in the spring, one in the autumn, which are essentially a whole series during the course of a day of CPD sessions around really live topics for our HR and L&D key contacts in our member organisations. And our next one is coming up on November 29th. So that's our autumn one this year. So what are we all about? We found that all of our sessions fall broadly into 5 key themes, which you can see there: leadership, strategy and innovation, change and transformation, personal effectiveness, and coaching. So let me give you a wee bit more detail. Membership gives you access to 30 masterclasses each year, 10 of them are face-to-face and they're full-day sessions. 10 of them are online masterclasses of 2 hours, and 10 are webinars, which are 2 hours. And you can see the fees there. So for full membership, where you have up to 550 places. I won't read all the details, you can see those yourselves, which if you work out the maths, it's a staggeringly low per person cost for such a high quality offering. So full package, online only, which is what some organizations like, or face-to-face, but most of our members have full memberships to take full benefit from what it is that we have on offer. And you can start at any time of year. Whenever you start, your membership rolls round to a year from whenever that start point was. And here are our current members. So you can see that we are a very broad church. We are purposely agnostic in terms of being sector agnostic. And one of the benefits of that is that when we are running, whether it's online interactive sessions or face-to-face sessions, the dialogues that go on, the conversations that happen, the exercises, the practical application, and the conversations in the room allow people from very different businesses to talk to each other and get different perspectives from people in those different sorts of organizations, which people find incredibly valuable. I mean, how often are you likely to be in a room with people from so many different sorts of organizations? It really is extremely energizing. So those are our members, and we hope that you'll be joining that merry band very soon. So without further ado, I'm actually going to invite Sharon Steed, Senior Talent and Development Manager at AWE, to talk about how AWE are using their membership and what they're doing with it currently. Sharon, can I invite you to... there you are. Lovely. Thank you very much. Sharon, over to you.
Thank you, Claire. And thank you for inviting me along to talk about our participation in the programme. So hello, everybody. I'm Sharon Steed, as mentioned, and I work for the Atomic Weapons Establishment, or AWE for short. We've been a member for a number of years, and I was thinking, what's the number of years? Probably around 6 or 7 years, possibly longer. And just a bit of a nod before I talk about the calendar of masterclasses and workshops to what Claire mentioned around our involvement as HR professionals, because that's been really valuable for me as well. So we come together a couple of times a year, so face to face, but also online. And we get to contribute to the build of the masterclasses and calendars. We actually get asked for our input, which is brilliant, because it means we can talk about what our focus is as an organisation. And what you tend to find is your focus is probably quite similar to a lot of other companies, regardless of sector. We all have the same challenges because people are people, predictably unpredictable, and they have the same sort of development requirements. So it's great to be able to sit and talk as a collective and say, this is what we need. These are our challenges. This is what we need to sort of really prioritise as a business. And then the calendar is built off the back of that, and it's shared once that piece of work has been done. So that's a brilliant thing to be part of. And I always really enjoy those sessions. And equally, we have those sessions with the CPD in them, as Claire mentioned, which are fabulous. We sit in a room at Henley, with a really wide variety of people from lots of different companies, and we hear from some expert speakers, world-class speakers as well, and have some really stimulating conversations that generate masses of ideas, and really get you thinking. And you go back to the business with, gosh, if we could try that. But it also gives you a chance to network and connect with people as well, offline, away from the Henley partnership. So I really can't emphasize the value of that alone before we even get to the masterclasses. So moving on to the masterclasses and the calendar, what we do with it at the moment is promote it when the calendar comes out to our senior leaders. And it's got a great uptake. We get a flurry of people, vying to get onto the various masterclasses, because, some are pretty exciting and very, very appealing. And we get a massive interest from our senior leader, which is a population of just under 300, or maybe just over 300. It is thereabouts. It's been a bit of a slow burn with them. our senior leaders tend to sit in that engineering and science community, so that there's often a bit of a focus for them on their CPD from a technical perspective. What we're doing at the moment is, launching lots of leadership programs because we're going through transformation, a big transformation at the moment that's helping them to refocus and reframe on their leadership skills. So this really complements that, and sits along nicely aside what we're doing, in the bigger sort of ticket programs and the wider programs that we're offering at the moment. And there's such a wide variety and there's such flexibility. So for those people who aren't time rich, there are sort of shorter webinars they can dial into when we get sort of quite large numbers available for that. And those who maybe want to, do something a bit more in depth, there are the masterclasses which are face to face at Henley. So there's kind of something for everybody, I would say, which has been brilliant. For us, though, I think the big revelation has been doing them in-house, because obviously these are open programs, and you will attend as a senior leader with other senior leaders and other managers from the other companies in the partnership, which is brilliant because it's good for their network too. But what we've also found is the value in housing them for our talent programs. So what you'll see on the screen are 3 talent programs, 2 of which we launched last year. Titan, which was for our aspiring executives, Aspire, which was for those who aspire to be the next level up below executives. Sorry, that made no sense, but we've got various levels of senior leaders, so it's the level that sits below the executive. And then our most recent program, which launched, I think it was last month in October, called Breakthrough, which is senior managers aspiring to be senior leaders. And you can see the lovely logo at the top of the screen that we had produced for it, and we had quite a splash at Greenland's. So Claire and Anne from Henley did that launch for us, which was fabulous. But what we've done is we've leveraged those masterclasses that sit within the calendar in the partnership. And that's brilliant, because what it's enabled us to do is think about, what are the behaviours that we want to see in our leaders and senior managers, and how do they map across to those masterclasses? And there's been some really great synergies there, so we've been able to do that. And also it's thinking about what will prepare them for that next level up. So a lot of the masterclasses address that for us, and it gets great excitement. So if I think about the Breakthrough launch, which we did last month, when we showed them the sort of masterclasses and events they'd be going to, they were so excited, and talking to people afterwards, that their eyes lit up, and it was like, wow, this is going to be transformational. So they start their first one next week, and I'm dying to hear how they find it. I think they're going to be pretty sort of excited by it, and come away with lots of value add. So that's how we use it at AWE. Absolutely, I can't recommend it highly enough. I think, to be part of the partnership is brilliant. And as Claire said, it's great value for money. It really, really is. So that's me for now. Yeah, really happy to answer any questions that you may have, either online or offline. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Sharon, for that. And yeah, I shall say no more other than to move on to actually give you a flavour of our 2024 calendar of events, and specifically some of the topics that we're talking about. So I said that we have the 5 themes, which you can see there, and 3 different modes of delivery. And we replicate that in our year to view calendar. I'm just going to show you 2 slides now, the first of which is the first half of next year, and the second is the second half of next year. And you can see from there that there is a wide range of topics, of subjects. There's roughly half the year with half the number of webinars, masterclasses, and then similarly in the second half of the year. So we try and balance it. We try and balance mornings and afternoons. So we have some of the 2-hour sessions in the morning, some in the afternoon. We have some global members who need to be able to have people tune in either the morning time or the afternoon time. So we try and cater for those sorts of timings. So you can see there we've got everything from teams and performance to horse whispering to creativity to insight-driven transformation, body language, emotional intelligence, strategic agility, psychological safety. And if we look at the second half of the calendar, we've got a whole range again around bounce back ability. That's about resilience. We've got sessions around focusing your time. How do you remain resilient? Even dialing up your inner psychopath, which you can see there. So you can see from that there is a wide range of within those particular topics, very, very different aspects and different lenses on those topics throughout the year. And I'm just going to talk, I'm going to talk to you about 2 sessions in each of the 5 chunks, so you can get a flavour of how they actually pan out. So if we start with leadership, we've got a session there from Rupal, who is an absolute ball of fire and bundle of energy. She's a former CIA officer, American, clearly. She was an undercover agent in Afghanistan, among other places, and has reported into the White House. And what she has done is taken her learnings from that environment and developed a whole lot of really unconventional insights into how can you tackle leadership challenges that are simply timeless, the things that, as Sharon said, we're all human beings, those human characters and qualities and characteristics that are in us all. So that session is going to be very, very high impact, lots of tools and techniques, lots of practicalities in there, and as it says there, how to adapt quickly when the mission goes wrong. So very highly interactive full day at Henley with Rupal. And again, another full day session with Dr. Mark Powell, called Strictly, the 5 Principles of Performance Thinking. So Mark and Jonathan have created a whole new way of thinking about performance based on research amongst some of the top performance artists from around the world in all sorts of different performance arts, and looked at how can you apply that in an organizational context. And specifically, Mark originally, although he's kind of backed up into academia and into consulting, actually was originally a professional Latin dancer, and he's bringing some dancers into that session to actually demonstrate some of those things. So again, very, very different lenses on leadership, very, very engaging indeed. If we look at a couple of sessions around strategy and innovation, the first session there called Corporate Explorers with Narendra and Andrew, they're really looking at what are the sorts of assumptions that organizations make, what are the myths and legends that are around, and why is that? And asking what they call the blasphemous questions. Why is it like that? Why would you do that? Really challenging people's mental models. And there'll be lots of case studies, lots of examples, lots of working live on individuals' current strategic planning and strategic thinking. That will be about creating new opportunities within your strategic thinking. The second session there that's described, Unleashing Creativity, a crash course in the art of problem solving. Again, a very, very interactive, highly energetic session around problem solving, using a number of particular tools and techniques which will help you to deliver some tangible results in terms of thinking about problems and how you can apply those in your day-to-day work. Session from Adrian called Office Politics or Office Savvy. How is it that some people are really good at maneuvering the office politics and maneuvering their way around, and other people aren't? What Adrian has done is he's really kind of systematized 6 key skills that you require to be really politically savvy and wise and be able to use your influence well. That's an online session with Adrian. We've then got a session with Professor Kevin Money looking at positive psychology. So the positive psychology movement has been around and in operation for years now, but actually this whole notion of focusing on your strengths rather than trying to shore up your weaknesses, it has been actively demonstrated is much more beneficial, is much less wastes much less energy, and allows you to improve your performance and the way that you operate. And this, together with looking at what your purpose is at work, is a session that will really have people be able to look at their own leadership approach and how they're going to bring their best strengths to their purposeful work. The next chunk is around change and transformation. We've got some very, very different angles and aspects on this here. So we've got Carl, who has been working for the last 20 years in the computer IT AI arena, and he is amazed at, given the fact that we've had more than a decade of really big digital transformation, why it's not delivering the kind of revenue and efficiencies that people always thought it was going to do. So he's got some really interesting insights and thinking around how to use generative AI within your organization and to get on the next wave of that. So I love his title, Software is Eating the World, AI is Changing the Menu. That's a session with Carl, and then a session from Professor Nick Kemsley around motivating remote workforces. Gosh, hasn't that become a real question since lockdown, when lots of people are still operating from home? You've got people who are at home, people who are in the office, people who are on the move. How do you bring all of that together? You know, there's kind of fractures and dilution of company cultures. How do you actually harness that collective energy and manage remote teams? So that's, again, key practical tips on how to do that, how to motivate and develop hybrid teams. And last but not least, coaching. So two of our key coaching faculty here, Professor Rebecca Jones and Abudi Shabi. Rebecca is going to do a session around psychological safety. Again, particularly in a hybrid environment and where we've got people who are coming new into organizations, how can you create the psychological safety that you need in order to be inclusive and to allow people to perform at their best? So Rebecca will really talk about what are the key aspects of psychological safety and how do you create that in your working environment. So again, real life examples, very practical, looking at how you can create a psychologically safe environment. And finally, Abudi is going to run a session around resilience, thriving in disruptive times. One thing that's for sure is that change and disruption are not going to go away. They're only likely to increase. So yeah, leaders are facing, greater than ever pressure, expectations on their time, on their performance. Are they in the office? Are they not in the office? How are they managing their teams? Do more with less. Many more levels and layers of complexity. And so really people need to be able to be resourceful, so resourceful to themselves in order to remain resilient and strong. And that is a session that Abudi will be running to help people find those keys to their own resilience, such that they're able to thrive as a leader. So moving on from those points, I'd like to introduce you to Roger, who I mentioned at the beginning is going to give us some highlights and a couple of little headlines about a session that he's going to be running for us on the 21st of November. And if you would like to join that session, you will be able to following this session. So Roger, without further ado, a couple of minutes from you, please, if you would, on the session you're running on the 21st of November.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. My concern in the world is that we are not well informed by our chosen source of media on what is actually going on in our economy, or indeed the global system, and what drives that system. So what I want to do and will do on the 21st of November is make you a very clear statement on how the economy works. And to give you a little bit of taster, I want you to think of a garden hose pipe. You touch that pipe to the wall and you turn the tap on. And then water begins to flow through that pipe and then comes out at the nozzle end. And if the pipe's got no holes in it, the amount of water that goes in at one end should equal the amount of water that comes out at the other end. Well, the economy is just a great big pipe. And what goes into that pipe is money supply that comes into existence out of thin air when banks create it, or indeed the central bank creates it during furlough periods. And what flows out of the pipe after a time lag is nominal GDP, which is the value of everything bought and sold in the economy adjusted for imports and exports. Now, if you think about it, the value of what comes out should equal the amount of money that goes in. And it does, but not all the time, because within the pipe, the flow depends on us, depends on our confidence. So sometimes when the money going in is large and everyone's confident, the value of what comes out grows very rapidly. You saw that at the end of lockdowns. And sometimes the money going in flows only very slowly. And you probably would like to know, one, how does money get into the pipe? Two, what are the indicators of its flow through the pipe? And that's what I'll be doing with you in it's a few weeks' time, on the 21st of November. I will keep it simple. As I said, we are misinformed by the media, and my job is to correct that for you. As a result of the session, you'll be able to tell most people in the pub that actually what they said isn't true. And like me, you'll end up with no friends.
Thanks very much indeed, Roger. Well, the economic foresight session is part of the strategy group of sessions, clearly looking at how our economy works. If you would like to register for that session as a taster session, we'll be emailing details to you directly after the session today. Now, my colleague Ijamal has been keeping an eye on the Q&A, so I'm going to ask her now if she would let me know if there have been any questions or any points that I could answer for people who've been on the session. Ijamal, would you like to come on and put any of those questions to me?
Yes, I received a couple of questions sent to me privately. The Henley partnership, what would you identify as the true value of the partnership to the senior management? It brings to the senior management.
Oh, there's all sorts of value. I think one is the range of topics that are available in terms of managers and leaders being able to choose the particular topics that they want to work on. And so it's a sort of a private menu. I think secondly, because of the range of ways of delivery, so whether it's a full day here at Henley or whether you can dip in for 2 hours and dip out again so that you can fit around your diary, again, that your chosen sessions that you have elected to attend, you can attend in those short bursts if that works for you. And what we've also found is that for some people or some members, they use the partnership sessions as part of people's development plans. So in performance reviews and so on, there will be particular aspects that managers and leaders will want to work on to develop their skills and their capabilities over the following year. And they can use the sessions from the partnership to develop those particular skills. Okay. I would say those are the key values.
Thank you. Then got a couple of questions. Where is the location of face-to-face sessions? And also, do you have customized content, or can we just choose from the existing calendar?
Okay, so the face-to-face sessions are here at Greenlands in Henley. So Henley Business School is a beautiful location right on the banks of the River Thames in Henley. And one of the one of the bits of feedback that we often get is that people, as they come over the cattle grid, so there's a cattle grid as you come up through the big grassy drive, is that they can hit the pause button on the hamster wheel of the day-to-day and the busy, and simply focus on what it is that they've come to learn and develop. So it's a very, it's a pretty exclusive and very powerful learning environment. So that's location. Can you tell me the second question again?
Yes. About customized content.
Yes, customized content, yes. So all of the content is created based on the input and the feedback from members. And what we found is that, like AWE, for example, Sharon was saying, they have selected kind of from our curated content the pieces that they find particularly interesting for a wider audience, and we can then customize. There is a level of customization of that content to the individual organization if you want to have that delivered for you in-house. So we can do that as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. One of the attendees raised their questions. I would like to say, if you have any questions, please do type them in the Q&A or chat, and we'll be able to answer. Claire, another question was sent. Actually, this is for our member organization. Sharon, if you're still in the call, if you could answer this question. They were asking about what difference have you noticed after having gone your top management through this program?
Hi, I am still here.
Oh,
I can't turn my camera on though for some reason. It won't let me. But I can. Could you just repeat the question? Apologies.
Yes. What difference have you noticed after your top management has gone through the program, through the Henley Partnership Program?
Yeah, we've had some quite big successes with the two programs I mentioned, Titan and Aspire, that they've both finished now, and the new one started. But with those two programs, we've seen some, really great successes through people being promoted. So a couple of people who were on our Titan program are now on our executive board. And one of them came up to me quite recently and said, it's the best thing I've ever done. I've done lots and lots of different programs across the years, and this has absolutely been the best. So, that's high praise indeed. And I think what we see from the people on the courses is they get sort of a great thought leadership out of it. They come away and they go, wow, I'm looking at the world through a different lens now. It's been quite profound what we've seen from some of them. So yeah, we've had a number of promotions and lateral moves into bigger roles off the back of those talent programs and people attending. And obviously I can't sit here and say it's all down to this, but it's been a contributing factor because we've given them access to development that has made them look at the world differently, has made them think about their leadership skills and how they relate to other people. Because I think that's one of the things we've seen in AWE is it can be quite transactional as a workplace. And what we've sort of said to people is you need to put relationship first. It's people at the centre. And we've seen a bit of a shift towards that. So yeah, I think that's probably how I would answer that question. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed, Sharon. And I think if I could just build on that by saying a lot of our sessions, they're absolutely the antithesis of chalk and talk. They are challenging. So bringing some challenging viewpoints to get people thinking, and just get the grey matter and the emotional matter moving. So that's very much how I'd describe the sessions that we run.
Mm-hmm. One last question, Claire. How do you select the speakers?
Oh, how do we select speakers? Okay, so I constantly have my antennae out. I select people from our faculty who are experts in their particular areas. And more particularly, I'm always looking at who is talking at conferences, who are the experts in particular fields. I'll study a particular area of interest. and find people, have conversations with people, and probably for the 30 sessions that we run, we'll probably have thought through 45 or 50 in terms of exploring different options, and then narrow it down to the 30 so that we really do get the best.
Mm-hmm. And we've got another question that just came through. It seems Henley Partnership is for large companies, whereas I am a small firm where promotion is down to me. Is there faculty at Henley for this?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What I can say is that the size of organization, generally larger, sort of medium and larger organizations, by using all your 550 places, really get value out of the partnership, buying it by being able to do that. So for very small organizations, probably less so. But obviously, your senior people can come to every single session. So if you want a leadership and strategy development program in a box, you've got some really excellent curated content here over the course of a year, which could be very, very beneficial, for example, for, you know, a dozen people who might be the most senior people in your organization to attend everything.
And if I may interject, for smaller firms, probably face-to-face offering might be more relevant, where you can pick 2 senior leaders and send to all of the 10 face-to-face events, and that's also can be a good value.
Good point. Thank you. Any more questions?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I think that's about it, unless someone else has more questions or other questions.
So I'd like to thank you very much for joining us this morning. We've beaten the clock here, 40 minutes. So I'm glad we've been able to save you 5 minutes of your day. We'll be contacting you directly after this session so that you can join Roger's Economic Foresight session if you would like to, as a taster, on the 21st of November. And we'll be delighted if you would get in touch with us again if you're interested in becoming a member of the Henley Partnership, if this has piqued your interest and got your juices flowing. We'd be delighted to have a conversation with you individually about joining the partnership and getting started for 2024. So very much look forward to talking to you again, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.